Oh, it's that time again. Oh, shit. Hold on. Hold on. I forgot the media asset. Because you want to know why? Because you got to say it once, you got to say it twice, you got to say it a million times. This is Tim, New York Giants Trade Talk on the Believe Network in conjunction with FanDuel. FanDuel, of course, number one sports book in all the land, in all America. Giants currently 6.5-point dogs against the Washington Commanders in Washington. I'd probably take that bet. I don't think the Giants are going to win. But if I want to take FanDuel's money, and I see a lot of people that we've talked to recently have actually taken bets on FanDuel and won, I would take the Giants in the points. I think they'll probably lose by 4 or 5. But I'll take the 6. I'll take the 6. What do we got here? I'll take the 6.5. Why not? FanDuel.com, number one sports book in America, not just sports betting. You got FanDuel TV. You got fantasy. You got online casinos and slot machines, I should say. Go to FanDuel.com. Oh, we got to talk about the Giants this morning. I want to say hello to everyone. We have we got the eyeball because the eyeballs are watching. They're all watching here. Robert says, good morning, Tim, and everyone in the chat. Skyline says, good morning. No. Matthew says, good morning, Tim, the OBB family. We have also Giants among men saying morning. We got the OG knockout saying, what's good, Tim? Well, we have the Giants. We have the Giants that are good right now. We have the Giants that we're getting down to the cut down day. We have the 53-man roster coming up. We've already made some cuts already. Nothing I would say earth-shattering, but we've moved on. We've moved on from some players. We have till 4:00 on Tuesday. So let's see. Jordan Bly, Case. It was a KJ Cloud. O'Donnell Fortune, who I was kind of upset about because I just love that name. You had Dante Johnson. You had Jimmy Morrison, the center. Zach Pasquale went down. Montero Washington, which a lot of people I think were kind of I think they were kind of surprised about. But Montero Washington has been in the league for 3 years. This isn't a guy that's that was an undrafted free agent who came off the street. He played for Denver 3 years ago. Then I think either 1 or 2 seasons in Kansas City, mainly as a punt returner. I mean, I wasn't surprised that he got moved on from, because I think you also need a guy on special teams that's going to be a little bit younger. And he's also going to be a little bit more willing to stick his head in there. I think it's going to be interesting if Beaux Collins, after kind of a disastrous final preseason game, and you have to in some ways give a shout out to Jameis Winston for potentially saving the likes of Jalin Hyatt on this team. Also, the Williams offensive lineman got cut, and of course Andrew Thomas was activated. But you can't, because like I said, that one big catch he had, you got all these people talking about, well, you know what? He's special. He's special. But right now the Giants have 89 players. They got to get down to 36 cuts before they can have the active roster. So that's going to be interesting to see where we move on. We are going to go by position in a minute, but we're going to say good morning to Deb. Deb, good morning. Big Blue, what's up? What's up? Shake, Waking Black. What's going on, my brother? Todd Taylor says, good morning. Robert says, now an agonizing 2 weeks until the season begins. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Hold on, something's texting me. You're right. Hold on, someone's texting me. Hold on. All right, there we go. Good morning, how you doing, my friend? Everything's going well here, Matthew. Whoops, good morning. There we go. Matthew says, I didn't see anything, but we have trimmed the roster. No. We're not going to trim the roster. We have till 4:00 on Tuesday. More than likely, most of the cuts are going to happen before for the Giants. I don't know about other teams. Are going to happen before that 4:00 deadline on Tuesday. So you're going to see a flurry of activity probably within starting on Monday through that 4:00 deadline. Matthew says, is DeVito going to get to the practice squad? I think Giant fans and I think pundits think more of Tommy DeVito than the rest of the league does. Because you don't see, Tommy DeVito was on the practice squad at one point in time last year as well. And just because he had 190 yards against the 4-string defense of the Patriots, who looks like they might be a bad team, at least their backups are bad, I think you could sneak him on the roster. I mean, I think it's going to, of course, be, especially in the first 6 weeks, I think it's going to be, you're going to have Russell Wilson. You're then going to have Jameis Winston, and then you're going to have Jaxson Dart. And I think that's going to be the roster for a little bit because I think the Giants and I think Brian Dable are smart enough to understand that Jaxson Dart is the third string quarterback because the kid has not played against anybody. He has not even seen the vanilla brand NFL defense. He's seen like the vanilla light. And I think Brian Dable is smart enough to know that, and Brian Dable is smart enough to understand that Russell Wilson gives you the best opportunity to win right now. Now, if after 6 weeks, if that story is still true, I don't know yet, but I would not put this kid in against 3 divisional rivals in Kansas and the Kansas City Chiefs. and I know they're called the LA Chargers, and the San Diego Chargers. I wouldn't. I would wait. Let him sit and see what it's like to be an NFL quarterback. Let him get his feet wet. Everyone talks about, well, the best way to learn is to play. Well, that's true and not true. You sat Patrick Mahomes. I think that worked out pretty well for the team. I think that worked out pretty well. So I mean, I don't know. No, we're not fair. We are not favored by 6.5. We are 6.5-point underdogs. Tim, I noticed more teams using a fullback position. Is the fullback position having a renaissance in the NFL? I think it should. I'm an old timer. I'm an old timer. I formation, power back I. Let's just run it down their throats. I've always been that way. I've always thought football should be played that way. I think the old adjective that you establish a running game and win on defense, control the clock. And I never understood. And I understood when you went to a passing league, that you all of a sudden just got away from the fullback position. The fullback position became kind of an ancillary position. Then you tried using the fullback position as almost a fourth wide receiver position. But the nuances of having that extra blocker, having that lead blocker, have escaped the NFL for the last 10 years. We kind of got back to it a little bit because of the Saquon Barkleys, because of the Derrick Henrys, because we've kind of moved. I don't think we're going to do a complete pendulum shift, but I do think the fullback position has its place in the NFL. Yes, I just saw re-sign Maurice Carthon. People forget in the USFL days with Maurice Carthon, he was a 1,000-yard rusher. Him and Herschel Walker combined for the first 1,000-yard backfield in the NFL with the New Jersey Generals back in his league. So he was more than a fullback, but they used him that way because you had Joe Morris. Then they had Rodney Hampton. Then you had O.J. Anderson. So isn't the fullback basically a blocking tight end? No. A fullback is not basically a blocking tight end whatsoever. A fullback, if positioned correctly, is your battering ram, is your lead blocker. If you're going off tackle, let's say, and you have a linebacker that's open, the fullback is automatically going to be a beacon to attack that guy and open up the whole four. Sorry.
That's what she said.
Open up the whole for the running back. Let's see here. Robert says, I can't believe that Hyatt survived the roster cuts. I get in a meaningless touchdown in a blowout season loss as far as is going to be enough for Shane and Dable. They drafted him. And he hasn't survived the cuts yet. He survived the first cut. We have 86 players right now. We have to get down to 53. So he survived the first cut. But Beaux Collins didn't. Little Jordan Humphreys, none of them did anything really on that Thursday night game to accentuate themselves to make the roster. I think yes, I remember Henry Hernosky. James Stein says, good morning, Tim. And Troy Bruce says, no NBA team looks at the summer league and says, I feel good about us in the regular season. Wait until Dart plays an actual game. That's Troy Bruce. You just summed it up perfectly. Wait till you're in an actual game. Wait till you see competition. No defense or defensive coordinator in the preseason is going to expose any of their game plan to any team. It's going to be beyond vanilla. And if you watch Jaxson dart still, and James and I watch the game from the 10th row on the 50-yard line, you can see he still is not scanning the field, the entire field. A lot of his, we showed it in the Patriot game that he was 7 for 7 for passes behind the line of scrimmage, and then he was 5 for 5 from passes from 0 to 8 yards, and his average ball traveling in the air was 4 yards. It's all dink and dunk short passes with a sprinkling of a deep shot here once in a while. And people are going to talk about the drops. Well, drops happen in the NFL. They happen. That's just the way it is. And then they talk about, well, they got a big deep pass to Gunner. Well, no, I was there. It was kind of a, it was kind of a short little pass to Gunner. But it was good that he moved around the pocket. He had some pocket fluidity. He's not a statue back there. He feels the rush. He's the anti-Daniel Jones when it comes to that. But he hasn't seen anything yet. Let him watch. I agree, Robert. Hyatt looks like crap on the field. He does look. Jalin Hyatt looks like garbage. Jalin Hyatt had one pass bounce off his shoulder pads, completely dropped another one, and Jameis Winston, like I said, I think saved his giant career with that deep pass, which is bad because I don't think he can do much besides. He's not a special teamer. He's not going to return punts. He's not going to return kicks. He's not going to be the gunner. I mean, he's back in the day, he had the old wedge breaker. He's not going to be that. They don't do that anymore. But he's I don't know. Tim, what do you think? What do you think DeVito will land on? What team do you think DeVito will land on? I don't know. You automatically want to say Cleveland, but I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's going to Cleveland. But that's the first thing you automatically want to say. It's Virgo season. You're right. Todd Taylor says they need to trade Hyatt for a pick. Nobody is going to trade Hyatt for a pick. And this is the thing that people are like, well, you need to trade this guy for a pick. You need to trade this guy for a pick. You need to do this guy for a pick. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, guys. It's just the way it is because they're going to wait to see if people get cut. And then they'll discuss trading for a pick. I think you're going to try to sneak Tommy DeVito on the practice squad, and I don't think it's going to be much of a sneak. I think he's going to get there. Any back on this that's any feedback on the Svi situation. Now, those that do not know Svi, that the giant, I don't know what you would call him, antagonist, kind of went after me on Twitter because I posted a thank you because we hit which was a nice milestone for us. We hit over 500,000 views yesterday for the first time ever, which was awesome on Twitter. That's the biggest month ever on Twitter. And then we had another 100,000 downloads on the Believe networks, which was also fantastic. And I just posted something thanking him, and evidently he thanking everyone, and he didn't like that. So of course he went after me, and then of course he went after saying stuff he shouldn't have said, and then of course the cult. It's like they always say when dogs attack, when the pack dogs attack, the cult attacked. And for all the cult members that attacked, I greatly appreciate it. But just remember, he is kind of a moron, and this is what he does. This is his modus operandi. So just leave him be. You shouldn't pick on people who have mental issues. I mean, seriously. So just leave it be. But I do appreciate the cult members coming to my defense. I don't need anyone to defend me, but I do appreciate it. It's but he said some things about acting out in violence, and so and I guess people know where he works. So, I'm not getting into it, but thank you for asking. Matthew said this is going to be the most exciting 6-10 team I've seen. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's going to be fun, but people just need to relax a little bit. Let's just see how the first 6 weeks play out. Your season could be over in 6 weeks. You could be 0-3 in the division. Or if you go my track, you can go 3-3 and then have to go 6-5 in the last 11. And if you think this team has any chance, one game over 500 in your last 11 games should not be a difficult task. It is a vertigo season. Yes, sir. Salute. Robert says, I know it was his first game, but what was not a good first carry for Cam Skattebo? Cam Skattebo was coming off a hamstring injury. I think he's going to learn quickly that there is a difference between running in practice and there is a difference between running in an actual game, even against third, fourth, and fifth teamers. So he had one carry towards the end zone. I think they were in the red zone. He had one carry that he just kind of ran into a wall, and he didn't go anywhere, and the wall didn't move. He tried his darndest to be the Arizona State Cam Skattebo, but the fourth team NFL defense said no, we're not doing this. So he's going to have to learn. He's going to have to learn to pick his spots. He's going to have to learn to follow his blockers. He's going to have to learn to be patient. But like I said, it's a couple carries. I'm not gonna worry about it yet. James Williams has hit that like button. Yes, please make sure you're hitting the like button as well. Douglas, what's up? What's going on? We have the slider coming in strong.
This is Ghost Rider requesting a flyby.
Negative, Ghost Rider. The pattern is full.
The pattern is never full for the slider. We got James calling out Maddie. We got James Williams. What's up? I gotta go. Sliders comment. I do remember Tim talking about Hyatt's catch rate. That last preseason game was just weird. People talk about the fact that Jalin Hyatt, people weren't throwing him the ball. There's all these excuses for the former Blitnikoff winner, and I pointed out that when they did throw him the ball, his catch rate was only 40%. And your catch percentage is off the total of catchable balls, not the number of passes thrown your way. Because sometimes you can have a pass short, you sometimes go over your head, sometimes it can just be a total miss, sometimes it can be an interception. So they refer to the phrase as catchable ball, which means it's a ball that as an NFL wide receiver, tight end, running back, you should be able to catch. Now, his issue was when he had it thrown to him, when he did have it thrown to him, he only caught the ball 40% of the time. Good call, Slider. Do you think Hyatt will be cut? You know, you take a look at the Giants' current roster, and you kind of see where we're at, and you kind of see the wide receiver position, and I take a look at it, and I'm not full. I mean, unless they got something up their sleeve, I'm not full with glee of the potential for some of these wideouts that we have, especially with the issues with Malik Nabers. And I kind of get worried a little bit if you literally take a look. I'm going to pull up the roster right here. If you take a look what we have, and right now you still have Juice Wells. You have what's his name? You got Smith, who's going to return the punts. You got Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, Gunner Olszewski. You got Nabers. You got Hyatt. You got little Jordan Humphreys. Now you also have what's his name? Felton, I think, is still on the team, and so is Beaux Collins. I'm not looking at this roster outside of Malik Nabers and Darius Slayton and saying, okay, there's a lot of talent here. There's a lot of perceived potential talent. And that perceived potential talent is going to be, I think, in the likes of Beaux Collins, but I'm not sure Beaux Collins makes the team. Little Jordan Humphrey, I like little Jordan Humphrey, but that's another guy that's been in the league for 6 years out of Texas. He's 27 years old, but he's the prototypical wide receiver at 6'4", 225 pounds. He had 30 receptions, I think, last year, or 31 receptions. So he's probably making the team. But if you take a look at the totality of the Giants wide receiving core outside of Nabers and Slayton, you got some question marks of whom is going to do what. So you have to kind of wait and see. Robert says DeVito will survive. The team needs a local mascot. Tom, if you think that Jaxson Dart is ready, if you think Jameis Winston is worth keeping, Tommy DeVito's not staying anywhere. Tom, and I know you're joking, but Tommy DeVito's a goner. Let's see here. James, for me, it's 50-50. J-Fat says, I don't think teams are lining up for DeVito. I can't see a lot. I was trying to look at, when we brought it up earlier, I was trying to look at teams that really need like a third string quarterback. And you take and there are a lot of teams out there, but you take a look and you're like, okay, who needs this? Who needs a third stringer? And it's like, well, and then you have to look at their roster saying, are their third stringers better or worse than Tommy DeVito? And you look at Tommy DeVito and you're like, okay, well, there is there potential there to be a third stringer? Yes. We already saw he got walloped in that Saint game going on 3 years now. And he hasn't really been back on the field. And then the one time he started last year, it was a fucking horrible disaster. We've talked about Tommy DeVito before. His issues are the fact that he just doesn't have the prototypical quarterback model. We've shown it before, and I got rid of the pitcher, but he's got this elongated pitcher style windup. And he just doesn't read defenses, and he just doesn't have the arm. So it's okay, but no, we're not going to. We're not. Yeah, I don't see too many people. I don't see any people lining up. All right, let's see here. Dominic Hickson. Oh, that's a good one. Let's see. I got lost. Oh, I got lost. Where did I get lost? Hold on, I got lost. I'm trying to find. I got to go back to all these. Let's see here. Hit that like button. I love when people are like, you mentioned this. Tim, I did. All right. I probably did. Resign Maurice Carthon. We got that one. Laugh. Good pass blocker. Not sure, Todd. But Mr. Oh, there we go. Okay. I want to make sure I get to everyone's. Move Hyatt to defensive back. He bats balls out of the air real well. That's actually a really funny one. Let's see. Robert says, very true, James. Good morning to you as well. What is it? Do your win predictions change after you saw the preseason games? No. I still say we're a 3 to 5 win team. Competition hasn't changed. Division hasn't changed. And you have to ask me after 6 weeks. And then I'll tell you if it changes. So resign Maurice Carthon. I love that one. Tommy DeVito was compared to Jeremy Lin for a reason. Ooh, that's a good one, Dan the man. That was a good one. James Williams said, I just said loud and clear, anyone who pokes my brother will be able to deal with it. I love y'all, and like I said, especially the cult on Twitter. But when Svi attacked, I mean, it was bad. Not on his just a response. It's like they rose, like you guys rose out of the swamp. I love it when he threatened me, and someone told him, well, Tim Park's at F8 and he rolls heavy, and you won't even get a sniff of him. I was like, oh dear Lord, guys. I was like, stop. Anyone remember Henry Arnowski, the White Rhino? I do. Good morning, Slider. We already said good morning. J Fed says all the undrafted free agent, Collins, etc., can get moved to the practice squad. Well, the problem with J Fed is you need to find wide receivers. Because what you're going to cover, take 6 or 7 wide receivers. And if you look at it that way, let's say you're only going to take 6. So your known spots are Nabers, Robinson, and Slayton. And then you look at the rest with Little Jordan Humphreys, Beaux Collins. You still have Felton on the team, Gunner. You still have what's his name, Smith, and you got Juicy Wells. I mean, this is almost spawn and sane and pray for rain if you want to use a baseball analogy. I think they're going to be hunting for a while. I think they're going to be hunting for a wide receiver on the final cuts. I think the Giants are going to be hunting for a wide receiver, a linebacker, and a defensive back, and probably a tackle, and maybe a guard, and a backup center. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. That's what I'm going with right now. So let's up, Slider. What do we got here? Tim, I know it's early, but do you see anything in Dart so far that would give you some hope that he could be a franchise quarterback? Yeah, there's a lot to like with Jaxson Dart. I keep telling people this. That's why I'm going to say, why is everyone fucking hating on me? I'm telling you, you see talent in Jaxson Dart, but I also see a guy in Jaxson Dart who, and I love people that tell me things, even though I was there. I love when I told people he never got any first team reps in training camp. Well, he got lots of them. I'm like, okay, well, out of the 10 practices, I was there for 8. And I was also at the joint practice. And I also watched the games. Brian Daboll is smart. He's putting him in positions where he gets comfortable, where he learns, and then he's keeping him at bay so he doesn't do something stupid like take off in the middle of the pocket, slide head first, and fumble, and have to go into concussion protocol. So Brian Daboll is maturating this kid the right way, but everyone just wants to rush him in there and throw him in there. So we want a David Carr or Tim Couch this kid, because I'm not sure about our offensive line yet, especially until Andrew Thomas comes back, because Evan Neal has not looked good at guard. JMS has not looked good at center. And you're going to move Greg Van Roten over to center. We don't have a real true center on this team outside of JMS, and that's frightening. And our depth outside of Beaux, and I don't know what Beaux is going to be yet until I see him go up against true NFL competition. I don't know yet. But with Jaxson Dart, you see the potential. The one thing that bothers me about Jaxson Dart, now that you brought that up, he's got this 3/4 delivery. And I keep watching it. I'm trying to see if I can find the film because I actually taped it. Well, I am old. I always love when people go, "You're old." Yeah, so's Jesus. So what the fuck does that have to mean that I'm old? Oh, that I've seen more than you'll ever have seen in your little pitiful little existence? That's going to be your big thing, that I'm old? I'm like, you're an old head. Yeah, I am. You're right. 1000%. What is that? I always like to say that my expression, what does that have to do with the price of eggs in China? Oh, I found the video. Okay, hold on. I'm going to process this video, and I'm glad you brought this up, because for all the good that you see at times with Jaxson Dart and all the things that make you think, okay, this kid's got the potential to be a much better quarterback than Daniel Jones ever was. And like I said, maybe it's the fact that I sit there and I overanalyze things. And I was talking to James about this during the game. I was telling James, I said, James, this is just, if you watch his throwing motion, he's got this 3/4 delivery. And he's not like Patrick Mahomes, where Mahomes alters his delivery. This kid is pretty consistent with not bringing the ball over the top. And I think that's going to be still the video is still sending. So once the video gets here, I'll reprocess it and resave it and do everything else. I'll show you. We'll get back to that. Someone remind me that when the video goes through. Tim, when you mentioned Peyton Manning's rookie season with the interceptions, Manning was NFL ready, but Dart is not ready. No, Peyton Manning was not NFL ready. And I keep telling people this. Peyton Manning, if you watch that rookie season, it was a bad Indianapolis team, but he was not ready for primetime, especially in those early weeks. He turned it on up and down, but he wasn't ready. Will Dante Miller, Gunner, or Beaux Collins make the team? Dante Miller is this weird anomaly. He's got to return kicks, because if you're going to be the fourth back, because the backs are going to be Tracy, Singletary, and Skattebo. Eric Gray is gone. If you're going to be the fourth back, you're going to have to do a lot of everything. You're going to have to play on special teams. You're going to have to return kicks. You're going to have to be a third down guy. You're going to have to be some kind of, oh, there we go. There's the video. You're going to have to be some kind of threat that is going to be beneficial to this team. And if you take a look at the way he runs, Miller, he's not going to run to the inside. He's going to have to be strictly a guy that bounces out that's outside, a guy that runs the sweep. He's got capable hands, which I think is what he's going to need. We've only seen a small sample of him returning kicks, but like I said, he is going to have to do a hell of a lot more on this team to make this team. And I'm hoping that he has that foresight in him. But if you watch him as a straight line runner in regards to going into the pile, going into the pack, going into and sticking your head, as he gets knocked off his stride real easy all the time. And I'm not saying it, like I said, I'm not saying it to be mean. This is just what happens. But if you kick him out to the outside, he does a great job getting the ball to the outside. And I think that's what we need to look at for this kid. I think that's what we need to watch. I'm trying to see here. Why is that not the video? Is that not the video? We have to watch it. Like I said, but he's gonna have to do a lot more for this team than he's ever kind of done before, and he's gonna have to show a lot more as well. I think he can? Sure, I think he can. I think anyway. I'll keep both. There we go. Replace. I think all right. I found the video. Here we go. We're always doing these things where I have to go out and find the video, and I don't know where it went now. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. All right, let me do this. We're gonna go back to what doesn't scare me, but something that I think Tommy DeVito, something I think that Jaxson Dart needs to work on. And like I said, it's not it's fine. And like I said, but this is something that has bugged me for like the last, I don't know. This has bugged me for like the last since training camp. And like I said, it's this 3/4 delivery that he has. And I get concerned that with this 3/4 delivery that it's going to be, I'm still working here, guys. I'm still working here. I'm the only idiot that does this live. You would think that I would do this and have it, you think I would do this and have it done right. But evidently I don't do that. I don't want to do that. That's too much work. Okay. And to one, my video, save that for the Kodak. It's the Kodak moment. Then we go back here. Then we go back here to more. Go to drag and drop. There it is right there. All right. We got the video. The video is coming up right now. It's load. The video is loading. And this was taken during this was taken between snaps. And I really got to watch this more and more. Beaux Collins, I think Gunner is not going to make, you're only going to keep one punt returner, and you're either going to keep Smith or you're going to keep Gunner. Beaux Collins did not do himself any favors. Oh, here we go. We got the Tommy DeVito. Here we got the Jaxson Dart. Now, this is what I'm talking about. Watch this carefully, guys. He's got this 3/4 delivery. Watch it again. Let's watch it one more time. You would like to see him bring the ball up a little higher and come more over the top. Because these NFL, he had 2 passes batted down that first game. You have to imagine that NFL defensive coordinators are watching this and are watching all this film. And it's almost like he's a baseball player. It's almost like he's got this second baseman throwing motion. He needs and it's not like I said, it's not like he's a pitcher, but he's got like this. He's almost like he is a. Like I said, it's almost, if you look at it and you watch it, it's almost like that the kid's a second baseman. Tim, I know this is off topic, but did you see the video? Shedeur Sanders losing like 20 yards and getting sacked where he was the 5th round pick. To everyone's thing with Jaxson Dart, I mean, Shedeur Sanders doesn't mean anything. Maybe because he's in Cleveland, and every rookie has a bad game. I mean, you had Stetson Bennett throw almost 400 yards the other day, and no one's talking about him replacing Matthew Stafford because he's a rookie. You're right, but to your point though, he's a 5th round pick, and to your point, the pocket collapsed and he was literally running for his life. Yeah, but that's because you're smart. Asmi said, F Israel. This is all I have to. Okay, well, I don't know why you want to say that, but that's just not nice. Matthew Stroud says, also been thinking about Quay Walker for KT. That makes sense, but Shane won't do it. Quay Walker for and also Romeo Dobbs for Kayvon Thibodeau makes all the sense in the world. I watched the Green Bay game yesterday against Seattle, and it makes all the sense in the world of what they have. So James Williams said the only pick we get for Hyatt is one from Spaceballs with a black fist on the hand. Hey-o. James says, and for Hyatt, my Schwartz is as big as Hyatt's. James Williams says, don't start the ruckus, but damn, I sure finished. My brother got your back always. I appreciate it. And like I said, it's we're gonna leave Sfia low. You know he's got problems. Anyone that knows him or has talked to him or seen any of his videos, you know he's got problems. So that's what I always say. All hail to the supreme leader of our cult. Hail, Tim. The fourth NFL team defense said no. To Cam Skattebo, they did. I'm out on Neal and Hyatt. Listen, Evan Neal looked good at times in practice. He really did. His deficiencies began to show during full contact drills when we put on the pads. He had some moments, but then those moments got kind of bad during the joint practices. None of the Giants, and I love when people want to talk about Beaux all the time. None of the Giants offensive linemen in those joint practices, and none of the Jet offensive linemen either, to be honest, had good practices those 2 days. So it was more as when you saw it on the field against the other competition that you kind of complained a little bit. James Williams says, we got to give the albino rhino. James says, the Kansas City Chiefs sat Mahomes for a year, and it worked out very well for the Chiefs. While several other Super Bowl champions have done it, we need to handle Dart and could work out the same way. Hopefully, you're right. You're right. That's the thing. There's no need to rush him. You have a 2-time Super Bowl participant, 1-time Super Bowl winner, and MVP who was a consummate professional throughout his entire career. And I'm not even a Russell Wilson fan, even at 37 years old. And you have him on your team for a reason. And James Williams pointed it out to me when we were at the game on Thursday that the offense actually looked more crisp and concise and had more life to it when Jameis Winston replaced Jaxson Dart, because Jameis Winston is an 8-year professional. Strider says, Tim, that catch rate for in the last game was like 40%. Yeah, I agree. Hyatt is a poor man's Dominic Hickson, only real fans. Well, first of all, Dominic Hickson can return kicks. And he had a pretty good game against, I think it was the Carolina Panthers. Yo, Trent, what's up? J-Fed says the wide receiver room isn't that deep. That's for sure. It's not. If I'm a betting man and I go to FanDuel.com, I'm probably taking the bet that the Giants are going to go out and try to find a wide receiver. Trent said, hi, couldn't catch COVID even if he lived in a lab with the rabid bats. Hey-oh, you're probably right. Let's see here. I think we have 2 wide receivers on the team and a lot of special teams contributors. You hope they're special team contributors because you're going to keep Hyatt. Not going to keep Hyatt. I'm sorry. It's going to be Nabers, Slayton, and Robinson. The other 3 spots were up for grabs, and the last 2 better fucking play special teams. Matthew says, damn, James, you're actually kind of right, but I think Dominic and Hickson, it was better than Hyatt thought, to be honest. He was, and he could play special teams, Dominic Hickson. He could return kicks. People forget about that. Giant Goofball says, what's up, everyone? Trent says, if Hyatt doesn't get cut, the only explanation is he has dirt on the owners. Same dirt they probably had with Daniel Jones. James Lane said, Hyatt will make the team because Collins didn't separate himself enough, and Joe Shane can't afford another draft bust, in my opinion. Beaux Collins, after the 80-yard reception against the Jets, really has not done anything to endear himself. And I've watched him in practice, and he does perform well in practice, but he has not done anything out of the ordinary these last X weeks, especially in preseason, to really say, okay, Beaux Collins deserves to make this roster. He had a couple bad drops, and on the Jameis Winston interception, you could see that Beaux Collins ran the wrong route. And if Beaux Collins would have ran the right route, that's a touchdown. And that's the second time he's done that in the preseason. Down the man says James Cruz doesn't get the big chance without Hickson getting hurt in week 2. People forget that. You're right. Strider says, Tim, I remember Carson Palmer was NFL ready, but in this first year, he sat behind John Kitna for a year. Even Carson Palmer admits he was not ready in that first year. Carson Palmer, good career at USC. The knee injury really, I think, derailed him, and I don't think he should have went to the Raiders. But yeah, Carson Palmer was another highly touted quarterback coming out of college, and he wasn't ready either. And that's fine. I mean, it's not like And I love when people think it's such a slight. And Carson Palmer still threw for almost 46,000 yards, almost 300 touchdowns, I think. But that first year, he didn't look great. I think the team had a 500 record or below 500 record. I don't remember. But he did have, he figured it out in year 2, and that's the year he really took off. I think that's when I think year 2 he threw for his career best in touchdowns. I think it was like 30 something. But he's a guy that, like I said, he was a guy that probably was not 100% ready, but they threw him in anyways, because that's what you have to do. Oh, you got to thank the big old gifts, OG membership gifts from the big old Don. Don, I was playing college football yesterday, and I was laughing because I was thinking of you, but I think my first dynasty I'm going to be a Mustang. I'm going SMU. Like their quarterback, like their running game. I'm going to have to switch the offensive playbook because I don't agree with it, but that's what I think I'm going. Matthew says they held on the D shape for 6 years. I really hope for Hyatt. Yeah, that's true too. Let's see here. Giant Goofball says Hyatt's contract is the only reason he would stay. Gabe Davis is healthy, a phone call away to be made. I hear medical issues are still there. I was going to say Gabe Davis isn't coming here. Gabe Davis still has problems. I don't think Gabe Davis will I don't think Gabe Davis will clear a physical. So I don't think that's happening. I think the Giants are going to be smart. They're going to look for something there. And honestly, you get rid of the Hyatt contract's not precluding him of anything really. It's only a $500 million dead cap number this year and 270 next, and it's only 1.5 million dead cap. I mean, it's a cap hit right now, 1.5, and only a dead cap number of 500. So I don't think that's precluding him from getting cut. I think, to James's point, I don't think they want to have another issue. Matthew says, I missed the poor man's version past my bad. That's all right. My brother. Slider says, at least with Hickson, he was on the field and he had a better catch rate than Hyatt. You're right. What Deb says, what position would you go after with the 3 spots remaining on the waiver? What the 3rd spot remaining on the waiver? You need potentially, I need a linebacker. I need a corner. I need a wide receiver. I would like to see a center. I'd like to see a guard or a tackle. I'd like to see a wide receiver. So those are the 6 spots I'd go after. Zag attacks. People forget Tommy got benched for Tyrod Taylor in the Christmas Eagles game. No, we didn't forget. Some of us didn't forget Zag attack, but I appreciate that. I don't do a ton of tweeting, but I would defend you to death, Tim. I appreciated that, and like I said, I was cracking up because it's like they just came. It's like people came out of the swamp. I was like, oh my God. You know it's bad when I have to tell people to relax. I was like, just calm down, guys. Just relax. I did like it when someone called him a mumble mouth motherfucker. That was kind of funny. And they called him Mr. Ed, and I can't understand what he's saying on his videos. Some things were kind of funny. Who remembers the JPP at tight ends? Which one? We had a couple of them. We had what's his name? Travis Beckham, and then we had Robinson. Let's see. I think I have Twitter somewhere. I just don't go on it. You're right. You're smart. All I was doing was going on Twitter and thanking everyone for giving us our best month ever. And evidently he took a slight to that. He took a slight to that. And then I love it because then he posts a picture of himself in a pool, and you could tell it's like a community pool. And he's trying to tell people how rich he is. And then at one point he goes, I'll just sit here with my $2 million homes. And then someone pointed out, you live in X and your house costs X and you work for the state. I was like, oh, dear Lord. I was like, oh, dear Lord, what is wrong with people? Florida man fucked around and Mons, you were there, bro. You were there. You were there, man. He fucked around and found out quickly. And of course, it didn't help that I had the receipts and the deleted tweets about how much he loves me just like 6 months ago, and I had to post that. So I guess I was somewhat in the wrong. Can't wait to watch Danny Doinks. Yeah, Mon says, yes, he did. Salute. Big salute. Big salute. Mons and James ever hear about the expression fuck around and find out? Don't mess with the Tim. I didn't even do anything. I just thought it was funny. I just watched people go. So Neil is a bust at 7. Can't be a backup guard project. Kenny, I don't know if he can be a backup guard project anymore, to be honest. I really thought with Evan Neal's size and with his limited quickness, he was not, he's not going to be a tackle. But you would think with his pure size, even with his limited quickness, that he could play on the interior portion of the line. So maybe, first of all, he's going to survive the cut. But maybe he just needs some more time to figure it out. It's a possibility. I mean, but I don't know, to be honest. James Wayne says, Tim, since we were actually at the practice and preseason game, give us one player who really separated himself from the pack. I would have went with Beaux Collins at point in times, and I would have went with Montrell Washington at times. But if you have a player that really, what's interesting, Holland had a bad start to camp. He had a really bad start to camp. But I'm going to tell you this, Holland, to me, I don't know if he was the Holland from 2 years ago at safety in Miami, but he's kind of turned the corner a little bit with me. And I was impressed with him the last 2 weeks of camp. Can I say that he's separated himself? No, I really can't say he's separated himself, but I can say that he has really been, and can't really say he's really separated himself either because he's brought in to be a starter. But he's gotten much better. I am still concerned about Paulson Adebo because I've seen some things with Paulson Adebo that may be just injury related that will transition. Hit the like button, guys. That will transition himself into something better and back to his former form. So we have to wait and see as well. Will says Matthew Holmes was sacked for 30 yards, and we get where are you getting at? I know. Don't it's fine. Charles says, Tim, after seeing some of the reps Neal gets a guard, he needs more aggression. He still gets beat by speed. Let's dude go around. He still does. He's coming out of his stance. Evan Neal has always been slow coming out of his stance. He always has been. And for a man that size, I would think with just brute strength alone, because when he came out of college, he was probably one of the strongest offensive linemen and reference just pure strength that we had seen in 20 years. But coming out of college, but we have not seen that. We have not seen that strength in the NFL yet. OG Knockout with a big salute. Wait till you get to my hydroponic gardening. I always love when people are like, you're old. That's when you know people on X have nothing. They can't argue with your facts. They can't argue with things you've gotten said. They can't argue with your credentials. The first thing they go is, you're old. Yeah. Okay. Next. So it just means I have more wisdom. Sam Howell just got traded to the Eagles, and the kid needs a signed short lease on an apartment. Yeah, Sam Howell, man. I met Sam Howell, which was funny. I met him on the field, his rookie season at the Giant game, because we were doing the flag ceremony, and we would finish the practice, and I was kind of just walking. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. Let's say that. So instead, I was kind of hovering. So, and I met Sam Howell on the field because he was throwing some passes. And I introduced myself like I always do. And I looked at him, and I was just kind of like, I just, if you look at your size, I don't know if you're an NFL quarterback if you just go by size alone. So let's see. GM Tim, everyone in the chat, surprise Washington got cut. James Hudson. James, if you want to talk about another guy that James said who surprised me in camp in a good way, who surprised me in camp, not in a bad way, because I never thought much of him anyways, it's James Hudson. And James Hudson looked terrible in the Buffalo game. I don't know. And like I said, we still have to cut 39 guys. So we still got some time to go. So don't worry about it, guys. We'll be fine. Dart said Dart is absolutely fine. We need to wait some time to see him, but the kid is going to be a good one for sure. I don't know if he's going to be good yet. I wish I could tell you that. All I'm saying is just let the kid be a kid. Let the kid learn. I don't think he's ready for I don't think he's ready for this the spotlight right now. There's nothing wrong with that. I think he's just got to figure out some things in the NFL. And if you think that Brian Daboll is the right coach to do it, Brian Daboll to me came out and said that, that this guy, he's got a lot to learn still. This guy is soft. Daniel Jones can't stand. Oh, James, are you still picking on him? I'm reading James's text. Text's post is this guy is Daniel Jones soft. Can't stand when a grown man talks smack on social media. Then the old white man calling you old was the funniest thing I've seen in days. I love it too because then he comes out and apologizes. He comes out and apologizes on Twitter. I thought that was the greatest thing ever. But James Amon evidently want to just keep stoking the fire here. And then I love it. I love it because Fee posts, we're good. We good. I'm not angry. I like the fight. You all good. I never said it was. I never make it personal, even though all he did was make it personal. I'm not going to get into convo. Any special need kids. Let's keep it FTB. This is after he bashed me for like an hour. And then, like I said, the minions rose out of the ashes like the fiery phoenix. Let's see here. What's up, man? Says Tim. These young bucks say old heads don't. I just love it. You're old. Yeah. What am I? Okay. You don't think I own a mirror? That's the best part. Dante Miller practice squad. Yeah, I think you can sneak Dante Miller on the practice squad because of his just pure speed. Like I said, he's not an interior runner. He's a guy that you're gonna have to kick to the outside. He can catch the ball. We've seen him in a limited portion returning kicks, and he's not a guy with the size that you're gonna put on your punt or kick return coverage. So don't listen to the shaming language. I'm only 44, but it's crazy. I know it's fine. Masculine Alpha Network, man, it's fine. It doesn't bother me. That's the big problem. That just cracks me up. Matthew says, I was kidding, Will. Technically, most quarterbacks can be sacked. Oh, I know, Matthew. We were talking. Big Mark stored in the chat. What's up, Big Mark? Big Greg also. What's up, Big T? What's up, gents? Giants Goopball says Turbo has looked good on the pass protections too. Been watching that. Granted, not against top competition. Do you feel his delivery is similar to Phillip Rivers? That is a good question. That is a really good question because when Phillip Rivers first came out, he kind of had the 3/4 delivery. But Phillip Rivers, throughout his career, is kind of Mahomians in the fact that he would adjust his delivery. And he wouldn't, but my concern is if you watch, and we'll watch it again. We'll probably get trouble with the NFL again, but we'll watch it again. Hold on. He's got this low 3/4 delivery, and he does it consistently. That's why he had 2 balls batted down in the Buffalo game when he went up against offensive line, I should say defensive line, that wasn't the Buffalo's complement of full starters, but they were guys that are probably second teamers. So just saying, Giants have to the corniest names, Motor and Turbo. Motor's not going anywhere either. So Motor's Devin Singletary's agent, greatest agent ever. It guaranteed basically all of his contracts. So if you cut Motor, you're going to have a $6 million dead cap. You're going to have a cap hit of $6 million, and his contract is $6 million. Kareem, what's up? What's up? I love the darts for darts. Strider says, for me, darts progression is reading, and dart needs to slide, doesn't get killed. Also, stop bouncing up and down while in the pocket. There are times I've seen, yes, he does bounce a little. It's not the nervous Daniel Jones thing, the bouncing. I just think if you watch him at Ole Miss, that's kind of what he does. So I'm not really concerned about that. What's up, Mark Stewart? What's up, OG Knockout? Good night, goofballs. Everyone in his house. Strider says 3/4 delivery. Dart played baseball. It does look like he's kind of a baseball guy. I throw a football 3/4. I used to pitch. See, that makes sense. Tuesday we get reinforcements for HD2. Whoa, Helldivers 2 is coming out for the Xbox. My son is a big Helldiver fan. Big Don is a Helldiver fan. I have a PlayStation and an Xbox, but I don't really use PlayStation as much. So, but I like the Xbox. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 37 likes, 107 people in the room with 37 likes. What the fuck? Hurry up. I'm old. Like the button. If you don't like it, I could be dead because I'm old. Oh, people. I just love people. People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. Yeah, it's just like I said, everyone's a tough guy on Twitter.
Get off my lawn.
That's gonna be my new phrase. I also love the scene in the movie when Gran Torino, when he goes, you ever notice that every once in a while just running someone you just shouldn't have fucked with? That's what I felt like yesterday. Matthew says, I'm going to say the same thing, Strider. Let's see here. Todd says, passing motion for the quarterback that used to be the throwing move, the open. What it was Lou say? I saw this morning Raiders backup quarterback went to the IL, trade Tommy DeVito coming. I think a lot of people are going to wait until Tuesday. So I think you're going to see a lot of players and a lot of quarterbacks, especially Tommy DeVito, that they're going to try to sneak on the practice squad, and it's not going to happen. So no, I don't see a trade coming. Yeah, if you talked about Jameis Winston, yeah, but the Giants aren't going to trade Jameis Winston. Trent says, a representative from the Eagles fan base, we will trade you a bag of chips for Evan Neal. I would take that trade. Slider said, Tim, people say, people will hate that video of Dart and just say Dart is the guy. I know. I don't know why I point shit out, because you're right. That's what people are going to say. You're just hating. You're just nitpicking. Well, I wasn't really nitpicking. I was just being honest. But that's okay. Neal needs to keep moving his feet. He does, but he's not going to. Matthew says, well, can we do a quarterback of flaw? What we can do a quarterback of flaw, especially if they give him time to develop. I believe Dart will have a good quarterback for us years to come. Just trying to be hopeful. Here's the thing with Jaxson Dart, though. And to your point, Matthew, no one's saying he's not going to be an NFL quarterback. But to sit there and tell me he is the most perfect prospect, no, he's got flaws. He does. And his meteoric rise into the first round, I said, is not something you haven't seen in the NFL with a quarterback, because sometimes you see things in a quarterback that just aren't there. You have to wait to let him play. You have to wait to build his confidence. You have to wait to see how he does. And throwing him out there week 1 versus Washington at Washington with the revamped secondary and defense that the Washington Commanders have is ludicrous. You will be throwing the flag in for the season week 1. And then I love when people are like, well, the best way for him to learn is to play. Also, the best way for you to learn is to watch. And the whole day, everyone keeps talking about the Daniel Jones Tampa game. I love that thing. Daniel Jones completed barely 50% of his passes in that game. It was a bad Tampa 2 defense that we would have rewritten the history if they didn't miss the field goal. Tampa was at the end of the game. Just saying. 80 plus people in the chat. Only 22 likes. Support the channel. Hit the like button. Thank you, Robert. I do appreciate that. Greg said Palmer had lots of talent around him during his career. He did. He did. You're not wrong. Let's see here. Giant goofballs. Who are you beefing with? I missed that part. Oh, just go to Twitter. Svi, I don't know what you would call him, didn't like the fact that I posted a thank you note for the people because we had 500,000 we're over 500,000 views this year, this month. And we had another 100,000 on the download on Believe, and he didn't like that. He didn't like that. And then he had to tell us about his $14 million houses, even though he works for the state. Oh, I find out all these things from people. It's great. Go Giants! Demario, of course, we're going to go Giants. James Williams, I just hit that like button. What do we say here? Gavin says, going on the conversation the other day about rookie quarterbacks, did you get a chance to see what Shedeur looked, and what do you think Dart is going to develop so far in comparison to Shedeur Sanders? I don't know, honestly, because I haven't really watched a lot of Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland. I know one bad game does not equal a career in preseason. I know one good game does not equal a career in preseason as well. Because, like I said, if you break down, and statistically, I only have the Tampa numbers. If you break down Jaxson Dart's actual game, he was 7 for 7 for passes behind the line of scrimmage. He was 5 for 5 for passes that were 0 to 8 yards. He was 2 for 3 for passes over 10, and he was 0 for 1 for passes over 20. And his average ball traveled 4.1 yards in the air per completion. So it's all so it's like I said, you gotta look at everything. Greg says, how hard is it to fix this with Neal? Don't put him in the right side. He played on the left side, for Christ's sake. I would have said that about the tackle, but as a guard, that shouldn't matter. And he's played now 3 years on the right side. So I can't go with that now. Yeah, Tanner McGee, injured finger. Philly needs a capable number 2. How can be Tanner? So I guess Kyle McCord's not working out over there. Not looking at you, Big Don. Tim doing a debate. Stream gear, rise 12, or going back to the beach at 12. Help me out with this one. I'm actually making bad decisions. What do you think, James? I like Metal Gear. I've always liked Metal Gear. I played the original Metal Gears. Tim, I'm going to do, let's see, Tim, I'm going to be short and sweet on DJ. The quarterback battle position with DJ and Richardson was what I would call the quarterback battle, but congrats to DJ for winning the job. Good luck. Honey Pot, drop the link, T-Money. Oh, well, I might in a few minutes. To protect the swords, did Cam Skattebo show anything? I didn't watch the game. Cam Skattebo was coming back from the hammy. No, he didn't show anything. If anything, you looked at it and said he didn't look that quick. He didn't get to the outside like he did in training camp, but it's his first practice. It's his first game against the third teamers. It was his first game action. So I'm taking everything with a grain of salt, especially the last part of this last preseason game, especially at the end, because nobody's playing. Like and subscribe, says Mark B. Thank you, Ben. How about Tony Romo delivery for Dart? It feels like that, but just me. No, it's not a Tony Romo delivery. That is not. If Rivers had some agility, it may have been the best of the three. If Phillip Rivers had talent around him, but you're right. If he was a little bit more, because Eli wasn't mobile either. No, that's tough to say. Support the cult. Hit the like. Rivers talked trash, backed it up, but he always lost because Brady was in the way. You're right. I'm a UVA fan. I watched a lot of Rivers when he was at North Carolina State. Would have been thrilled if we had him as well. Yeah, I mean, I thought Phillip Rivers was not a terrible pick. I was ecstatic when the Giants traded him, but I was when we made the pick, I was like, okay. I liked Phillip. I think my quarterbacks in that draft were Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers. I don't remember. I would have to go back and look. I hope the Giants don't cut Turbo. He has some fighting skills to contribute to the team. Problem is he's got to play special teams. Do you see Turbo on punt coverage? Do you see him on kick coverages? He's only returned kicks, I think, twice. He's got to do more than be a guy that can take it to the outside. I haven't been able to watch a ton of preseason. Has Banks played it all? Banks has not looked better. What's up to protect Evan Neal's is toast. He'll be back up this year and let him walk next year. He is a complete bust. Listen, if Evan Neal can't figure out how to play guard, I mean, the only thing left is to play center, then to play left out. Because I am somewhat shocked that he does not have the ability to play guard. I would think with his size and his strength and his mass that he would be able to play a guard. But hell, he even looks slow at guard. Vikings just signed Carson Wentz. Good for him. Oh, geez. Strider says, all right, fans, Evan Neal next to Andrew Thomas. I would agree, but Evan Neal needs to work. Asked me, said, how do you not notice that Evan Neal can't move 2 feet to his right? And still mind-boggling to me. That's the problem, though. That is the problem with Evan Neal. It truly is. When you are playing the guard position, I've never played guard, but I know people have played guard before. And I've known people in college who play guard. They always say you play in a box. While you're out on an island at tackle, at guard, you were playing in a phone booth, which we don't have anymore. But that was the expression. You're playing in a phone booth. You're playing in the small box. And for a guy that can't pivot and shift, to your point, ask me, 2 feet to the right or 2 feet to the left, and consistently keep his man in front of him at your size, mass, and strength, that's a problem. A lot of Jaxson Dart are covered up by the distraction that his smoking hot MILF mom. I didn't know his mom was a MILF. I didn't see his mom. Can't wait for the first interception. People will want Russ. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. The first interception by Russell Wilson, the first negative play by Russell Wilson, the Giant fan base, a segment of Giant fan base is going to be calling for Jaxson Dart. Let's see, Viking signing Wentz explained that Howell was traded. You're right. Blackbird says, good morning, Tim. Jalin Hyatt drops more passes than he catches. Howell dropped 2 passes on Thursday, then catches the TD play and stop playing with. I told you, if anything, Blackbird, Jameis Winston staved his Giant career for at least another year. Because he's looked, outside of a couple of flashes, he's not looked good in camp either. I know he's in the darkness, but I think someone's got to get him a bigger flashlight, because we're having a hard time. We're having a hard time getting him out of the darkness. And you know, right? He catches one, he drops one. I mean,
some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
That's him in a nutshell. That's Jalin Hyatt in a nutshell. $14 million house. What does that have to do with Tim thanking people? That's the best. That was the best part. He's sitting in a pool, what you could tell is like a community pool from a hotel or a apartment complex, going, I'll just sit here with my $2 million homes. Tim wishing he was me. I don't know what that had to do with the price in China. I don't know what to do with the exit. I don't know what that had to do with anything. And then I love that people tell me, well, you know, your house only costs this much. It's like, oh, dear Lord. It's almost like you want to tell him, hey, this old head, I retired when I was 42. What does one thing have to do with the other? Nothing. Davey, what's up? Why is Hyatt on this team? Who did he sleep with to get the final roster spot? I don't know. It's a good question. Slider, do Metal Gear. I like Metal Gear. I like Snake. Davey says also, don't take too many grains of salt. You don't need more sodium. No, I don't really use salt. Giants looked really good, says Jake. You're right. Giants looked good in preseason. It was a 3-0 preseason. They scored 30 points twice. But you got to look at who they did it against, and it's preseason. And I'll get excited about it, Jake, because once you... I love it. Rachel says he was at a community pool. I'm going to say it once again. Until we've reached a day that they carry preseason games over into the regular season, I don't care about preseason. Preseason to me is just to develop talent, and that's what it's always been designed for. Off Broadway, big salutations, Tim. Salutations to the GMEN family. Let's see here. Off Broadway, say Evan Neal needs to lose some weight in order to move faster. I honestly think someone else told me the same thing. As you're hitting the like button, we've gotten up to 50 likes. Can we get to 70? Can we get 70? Swing. Someone also mentioned that to me about Evan Neal, about losing weight. I don't think Evan Neal's problem is the weight, because he's been the same weight since college. I think the problem with Evan Neal is he is not. And like I said, I'm not an offensive lineman, but I don't think he's technically a sound offensive lineman. in reference to how he gets out of his stance, how he goes back. I mean, I would have assumed with Evan Neal, that size and mass, that he would be a bruiser in the run game, that he would literally just plow people over. You just haven't seen it. Let's see. BP says Sanders holds on to the ball too long, didn't take the checkdowns, which created sacks, didn't look good against the blitz. Only one preseason game. He showed weaknesses against pressure, but it's one game. And that's the thing. Here's the thing that kills me. What happens if for the I don't know, let's just say for the foreseeable future that Jaxson Dart gets in the game, looks horrible. And let's just say in the same week, Shedeur Sanders gets in the game and puts up 300 yards. What is that going to mean? It would mean nothing because it would be one game. And to your point, BP, it's preseason. And he did. I was watching the film a little bit a second ago because I'm always multitasking. Yeah, he held on the ball way too fucking long. But then also you watch Patrick Mahomes do the same thing. Greg says Eel needs to be a bouncer at Chuck E. Cheese at this point. Yeah. You don't need bouncers. You have these, they stamp your hand down. You have to match with your kid to get out. Jake said the Giants offense and defense look good, and the Giants, Brian Daboll is pushing them hard even for training camp. No. I've been to 8 of the 10 practices, and I went to the 2 joint practices. These training camps, no one's getting pushed hard. No. even in the padded, full contacted practices, I was there with Ryan and Ryan's Big Blue podcast, and it's like, no, they're not even hitting. No one's getting pushed hard in training camp. That's just not and it's not just Brian Daboll. That's just the NFL. So it has nothing to do with Brian Daboll. Blackbird says Vanilla Vic won the starting job in Indy. Yeah. Other than Joe Shane's draft is going to be off the team soon. There is a potential that Joe Shane's first 2 draft classes in 2 years can be completely off the Giant roster. There is a potential with that. James says, even Rachel said he was at a community pool getting peed. We're done with Svi. We're done. We're done.
Get him a body bag, Johnny! Yeah!
We're done with me. Joby says, hate to give credit to any Dallas related, but remember when the wide receiver coach says Hyatt had no capacity to run a full route tree? He is a one-trick pony. Yes. Yes, he did say that. I personally thought that Hyatt was going to be a good... You watched Hyatt at Tennessee. And you watched him even when he transitioned from Hendon Hooker to Joe Milton after the Hendon Hooker injury. You thought that you saw something special there, but you saw something special, and maybe I was blinded by it on the deep route. You saw this quickness. You saw this ability to create separation. You saw something in him that you knew that you thought was going to be special, even at 6 feet, 175 pounds. I mean, the kid put up almost 1,300 yards and 15 touchdowns his last season, averaged 105 yards a game. You thought there was something there, and the problem was this. You're right. He averaged 18.9 a reception, 16.5 for his entire career at Tennessee. He's a guy that played as a freshman. But then if you kind of break it down a little bit, he was kind of a one-hit wonder. His first 2 seasons, he only had 41 catches. So, and only 4 touchdowns. So maybe you were blinded by what he did, excuse me, during that period of time. And I think I was. I think I was just seeing things that weren't there. Jaxson Dart is just smoking hot. And Jaxson Dart is not just smoking hot. She is so athletic that she might give Slayton competition for 2. What? I don't know what you're talking about there. Sublight says, I'm optimistic, but at some point I'm not falling for they look great in preseason. Not again. We know when we played Washington. That's the thing. We're going to know what we are in 2 weeks. And we're not going to fully know what we are, but we're going to get an idea of what this team looks like. And we're going to, each week, we're going to get a little bit more detail and we're going to get a little bit more information. That's why I said, if you can go 3-3 in your first 6, you got a shot for this division, because I only think 9 wins is going to take this division. But the problem is this: you potentially could go 1-5 and be 0-3 divisionally. So these first 6 weeks are beyond muy importante. They are. And that's why I said you can't just throw, and that's when people are like, well, throw Jaxson Dart out. To me, you throw Jaxson Dart out in Washington or Dallas or Kansas City, you're waving the red flag before the season even starts. And I'm a season ticket holder. And my family's been season ticket holders since 76. I want to win. I don't want to develop a quarterback. Brian Daboll can't wait a year to develop a quarterback. He can't, because his whole lineage right now with the Giants is probably going to be these games leading up to the second game in Philadelphia on October 26th, because he could be fired before Thanksgiving. So I don't think he is going to run out a guy that has potential to try to develop him when he needs to win games. Giants aren't known for firing coaches in season, but I think if you are like 1-9 or 2-7 going into Thanksgiving, I think he's gone in season. Evan Neal should have been a defensive tackle. I don't even think he can do that. Todd says, I do wish they'd go back to the 4 PS games. It helped guys in May. 4 preseason games. Yeah, I agree, but they're doing it because we're going to do the USFL 18 games. Strider says Evan Neal trained with an offensive lineman, Will Anderson, in the offseason. I remember Will Anderson played for the Bengals. Will Anderson was a hell of a player, underrated dude, but whatever Evan Neal is doing is just ain't working right. You're right. Just goes to show you that despite the numerous draft misses so far with this regime, if they hit on Dart, all might be forgiven with ownership. You're not wrong. I mean, if you find a franchise quarterback and you trade it up to get him, yeah, a lot of your ill wills are going to be waived. Yes, I'm yawning because I'm old. I didn't go to bed till like 3:00, and then I had to get up at 5. Yeah, I was trying to be young. And then school starts tomorrow, so I got to get up at 5:45. So, and I got to go to Dave and Buster's at 12:30. I don't know how that's going to work out. Todd Taylor says this. Oh, I brought this up, Todd. 0-16 Lions went 4-0 in the preseason. I did bring that up. Jaxson, lawn dart. If our offensive line breaks down, it's going to get bad. And if the offensive line breaks down, I don't know what this kid's going to do yet. Tim, you've been to practice. Do the Giants look ready for the season as opposed to recent years? I will tell you that this has been one of the best Giant training camps I have seen in the last 10 years. But that's not saying much. But this has been, I'm not buying into the whole different vibe and the whole different this. This has been, I'm just reading my Twitter insults. I just love it. Oh, I love it. And then I love it because then other people like, I've watched you because you don't sip the Kool-Aid like a lot of others. By the way, you talk about Dark comes off being hate. There's no hope in your land. He's not just in your eyes. That's fine. But the rest of us have hope, please. I love how people tell me that when I just tell you all these wonderful things. I love this one. Online Big Blue would criticize the 86 Giants, so keep that in mind. Oh, the gloom and doom. Yeah, and he kisses Carl Banks' ass when he had him on. I don't remember kissing Carl Banks' ass. I actually remember. I actually asked Carl Banks some questions that I didn't think he was going to answer. I was kind of surprised about that. I love hate. And that's what it cracks me up. And I love this period. Yes, but when Mantle and Strawberry played versus high schoolers, it's not the competition that shows. Giants dart show talent, scheme, and defense all you want. Talent wins. You would think Jaxson Dart won a fucking Super Bowl. And all I said about Jaxson Dart was he's not ready to start. I didn't say he's not ready to be, and he's not going to be an NFL quarterback. I'm not saying he's not going to win 10 Super Bowls. I'm saying he's not ready to start. There is a reason that the idiocy of Giant fans, that we are voted the stupidest fan base. And you go on Twitter and it's what this is. And honestly, this is what it is. It is the idiocy of Giant fans. You cannot have a open debate about anything with Giant fans and discuss. I had a kid, and he's not a kid anymore because he's in college. When we first started the show, he went back and tracked, I think, like 8 episodes, 8 podcasts. And he was like, I looked, and he was like, I went, and he sent me, I have to find the spreadsheet. And he went and he goes, I tracked down, I broke down a percentage of what you say positive and what you said negative. And he goes, you averaged like 89% positive. And he goes, but there was an 11%, not that you were negative, you were just giving the other side of the spectrum. And people would say, all you are is negative. I could say Jaxson Dart is going to win a Super Bowl, but then I could also tell you he's got a 3/4 delivery by showing you the video. But I'm the bad guy. Sadie says Hyatt needs to stay on his feet when he is trying to catch the ball. Hyatt is always falling down. He really is always. I never noticed that before. He really is always falling down. Move on from Hyatt. Let's. Robert says only 60 likes. Support the people in the swamp. Hit the like button. Support the swamp people. We're swamp people. We're at 61 likes. Let's get to 70 before, because I got to leave a little early today. Like I said, I got to go Dave and Buster's. Not getting up to 100 likes. Dude, that's paddling. Sorry. I love when you go. I love when Fielsa goes, you to the channel that buys subscribers. I've been doing this for 4 years, motherfucker. If I was going to buy subscribers, I would do it already. Because it took me a long time to get to 12,500. Oh my God. Davey says, Tim, if you're still a Giant season ticket holder, then I have a Brooklyn Bridge to sell you. I'm only a season ticket holder because of the fact that no one bought my PSLs. Move Hyatt to the slot. In college, he played there. But you got Wan'Dale Robinson. Jay Ferris says, Tim, where do you see the first quarterback? With you, Matt Sims, or Jaxson Dart? Tim, what do you see? What do we see play quarterback first with you, Matt Sims, or Jaxson Dart? Well, first of all, Matt Sims is coming on August 26th. Maybe there's something going on there. I don't know. Actually, you'll see me first. Greg says, we all know Dable isn't the problem. It's the GM. I don't know. Because like I said, I think I could coach Josh Allen. I heard Dable beg for Dart. He got him. Let's see here. Shredder says 2 things I've learned about Tim. He doesn't drink the Kool-Aid, doesn't piss on his leg and tell him it's free. That's a good one, Slatter. I'll put the link in the chat for a couple minutes, and then that's it, guys. I got a souped up silo boogie because I got shit to do. I gotta go to Dave and Buster's. I'm not gonna lie. I like Dave and Buster's. I'm not gonna lie to you. I enjoy Dave and Buster's. Oh, we got this. Oh, Pimp named Slick back. Where you been? Tim, Giant, thank you for the super chat and all super chats. Go to the Philadelphia Children's Hospital. Tim, Giant fans are doing it again. I'm seeing them compare Jaxson Dart to Mahomes. Josh Allen already. Why does this fan base continue to fall into the mode of rose-colored homerism? Pimp, you've been on the show many times. You've left many super chats and many other information. And you've been a good pundit in reference to looking at the Giants from an outside perspective. And to your point about the rose-colored homerism glasses, I got no fucking clue. I was pontificating for a moment because I was trying to figure out a good answer for you. But honestly, my brother, I got no clue. It's good to be optimistic. And I love when people say that we're haters and all this. But then I always ask the same question. And you're, of course, and a lot of people in the chat fall into this literally. What have we been wrong about for the last 4 years? The majority of the people on this channel and myself have predicted the last 4 years. And we even point out the fact that, yeah, you started 7-2, but you finished 2-5-1. You went 6-11. Then you went 3-14. You could see this wasn't a playoff team. You could see that the talent wasn't there, but the talent has gotten better. Is it better to make the playoffs? The worst thing we had ever done was to go 7-2 those first 9 games, because that just caused everything to fall apart. Honeypot, I gotta get to the honeypot. Hold on, what is he doing? Oh, it's a dog.
A dog.
There's a dogs.
A Belgian Malum, all that. He'll bite you, Tim.
Dogs love me.
Gonna bite.
I got tons of them. See, look at that. They hear my voice and they just go running.
Okay. Down.
What's going on, my brother? How you doing?
Doing good, man. I like this little preseason, man. I like this no big injuries. Nobody's been saying that. We have had no huge injury. And I like how Dable's taking this shit slow. Like Malik, we didn't see him at all. We don't need to see him. What the fuck do we need to see the Ferrari fly around the track? I know it'll fly around the track. Just chill. We got it. Just chill.
Same with Dexter Lawrence. Same with other players.
Yeah.
We already know what they've been
putting in their time. I like that he's letting the boys who's been putting in time and got a little nicks just put up. We don't need to see you get your reps. And if you don't think they're training on some other stuff, you're retarded. They're doing. You know what I'm saying? All off season, they're getting better. I like Russ. I love the quarterback situation. The reason this preseason has been so good because we don't have like a Cam Ward where he's like, okay, he's a starter. You'll see like 4 reps, whatever. You've gotten to see what you want to see a lot because we're not afraid of him getting injured. We're not worried about that. He can go out there. We know he's not the starter. That's why this preseason has been nice. And then you get Jameis. Fucker comes out and just throws a dime to this clown. I don't want to say his name. He doesn't even deserve to have his fucking name. I mean, I'm not too mad at him, but Mr. H, he didn't choose to get drafted by us. We understand, but I mean, you do 5 fucking touchdowns against Alabama.
Yeah,
you got something. You know what I'm saying? You asshole. You should have dropped 3 of those balls and we'd have been okay. You feel me? If you'd have dropped 3 of those touchdown balls at Alabama, he would have not been on the Giants. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
That's whatever. I'm not too worried. Yes, I feel you on that quarterback room. That's the only thing about this team that scares me. Yes, Malik, we get that. But I like Darius Slayton too. But after that, it literally falls off a cliff after Darius Slayton. And
you have Wan'Dale, but Wan'Dale's in the slot. And he
showed you all he wants to show you with that ball. They were saying he needs to stretch out and catch the ball. His arms aren't long enough. Like in that preseason with Russell when he dropped that pass, that 3rd down pass.
Yeah.
And the defender came in and swatted the ball down. His arms can't get any longer. That is what he is. I mean, I'm not mad he's on the team, but he's that little in cut, that little 3 yards, 4 yards. He's all right on that. He might break something off, but that's whatever.
Well, we've talked about it and we see it in the preseason and in games, when you put him deep, you're exposing him, and it just hasn't worked out well. He's not a guy that you're going to put 30 yards down. He's not a guy you should put 30 yards down the field. He is a guy that's a slot guy. He's a guy that's 3 yards in and out, and then hopefully he gets a yak. But we've said it before. He had the quietest 90 reception season that I've ever seen in the NFL.
I still can't believe he caught 90 balls. They must have been counting the drug machine too, Tim, because
they probably had it on the jugs too.
They gotta be counting the jug machine. Tim.
That's a good one. I gotta steal that one. Yeah.
90 balls this man caught.
He caught 9. I mean, if you asked like 10 Giant fans, how many Giant fans would know that he caught 90 passes? And he didn't. The thing is, he caught 93 and didn't even crack 700 yards, and he was targeted 140 times.
If you got 90 fans in a room, the only one who can answer that, he'll probably have his head in some what's that shit called? That has all the sports information on Omnidac. He'll have his face in an Omnidac with glasses on in the corner. No, down. He'd be the only one, and everybody else would be arguing with him. He didn't catch 90 balls. We're talking about one season, not his whole fucking career. But after Wan'Dale, after Slayton, it really goes down. You know what I'm saying? It goes downhill from there. So the tight end room looks better.
Do you want to laugh though? You want a good laugh? How many receptions do you think Wan'Dale Robinson has in his first 2 seasons?
Oh, he's probably got like 130. I think it is, right?
He's got 83.
His first season?
His first 2 seasons, he has 83 total receptions.
Oh yeah, this is Wan'Dale's 4th season now, right?
Yeah.
Oh damn! I thought this was his 3rd.
He had 90 receptions in one season, 83 in the first 2.
Ew. And I like Holland though. I like Holland. Holland's going to work out good for us.
Holland had a slow start to camp. He had a slow start to some of the games, but Holland he's looked good in the last week of camp, and he's actually looked really good in his last couple preseason games.
Abdul, I'm a little nervous about him. I think we're chasing that Parsons mold, you know, that tweener, little, like you're saying, he is just like Burns, like he's got to show me. And Jaxson Dart's whatever. I'm not worried. I'm going to be worried about his preseasons in about 2 years.
Exactly. I'll worry about Jaxson Dart week 14 if he's starting.
And that's not there. Even that. But even if he messes up there, I'm still not sweating it, because it's kind of like a Jordan Love situation. You know what I'm saying? It could be just like that. And all those situations work out. They usually work out. Like if you look at him, Patrick Mahomes, we're going to say that, but he's just, you could have sat him in a cave. He would have been throwing a ball for a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really like to count him because he's just an anomaly. But
it's amazing that the first 2 seasons, you brought up Jordan Love. It's amazing that his first 2 seasons, when he got named to start in 2023, people called him a bust going into season 3. And then all the does go out and see in his 3rd year and throw for 4,000 yards and 32 touchdowns.
I like this. I feel good about the season because my expectations are not high. They're at a 0. I get to see it's something fresh. Dable. That's a funny situation to me because they're like, oh, he's growing this quarterback. He's growing this quarterback. So is he already coming back next year? No matter what, is that what we're saying?
If he wins 3 games, there's no way he's coming back.
But he's growing our quarterback.
But then listen, we had 2 people growing Daniel Jones, and they still hired Brian Dable. And Brian Dable,
I haven't heard it that much. Then, as I'm saying with him, this is all you hear is, the process. Not as nearly as much as Daniel Jones.
My thing is this: Brian Dable has got to have the team look competitive. He wins 5 to 6 games. I think he comes back for the last year of his contract. If this team is not competitive and doesn't look like they're ready, like they haven't been opening week the last 2 seasons, he's not gonna make it through the season.
I'll say one thing after these losing seasons, but to still kind of have the same head coach, I kind of like it. I'm not gonna lie. That revolving door, that shit was getting annoying to me. Like Ben McAdoo, then you got Joe Judge, Pat Shermer. It's like that shit was getting annoying. Like I didn't like that. I do like that. They're keeping him though. I do like that. I like the consistency at the head coach. I do. I'm not gonna lie. Even if he has a bad year, I'm not mad if they bring him back another year. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No, listen, I'm with you saying. Listen, my friend, I'm gonna have to let you go because I got to get out of here. But I hadn't seen you for a while, so I wanted to make sure you had an opportunity to jump on.
I appreciate that.
All right,
We'll
my
see
friend.
you.
Have a good rest of your Sunday. All right, we're gonna have to let me just go to the chat real quick. I got like 3 minutes, so let me just see what we also have here going real quick. Where did I finish off? Let's see here. James Joseph, Devin Neal might be useful as an extra offensive lineman in a goal line situation. That's about it. He can't move laterally. He really can't move laterally, and I think that's I think that's the biggest issue. Let me also just make sure we got here. Make sure I didn't miss anyone that was new that came in. It's like Justin Fields syndrome. Looks great in the highlights. Jay Ferris, you're not wrong there. Justin Fields had great moments in games in college. Remember, he smashed Trevor Lawrence at Clemson in the bowl game. Richardson didn't have a career Fields did in college. You're right. Let's try to say good to see you, Tim. We will see you later. Yeah, I got to go to Dave & Buster's. I gotta go. I like Dave & Buster's, and the kids like Dave & Buster's, and it's the last day before they gotta go back to school. So, yeah, Dave & Buster's is overpriced big time, but I enjoy it. They're like, hey, no R word. Sorry, I heard that too, Strider. I heard that too. All right, is anyone? OG Knockout says John Gruden should be the Giants' next head coach, but New York is too liberal for real. Tim, were you invited to Dave & Buster's? Yeah, I was invited, actually. Let's see here. Dan the Man says Brett Favre and Rodgers both won the Super Bowl at age 27. Loves turned 27 in November. Packers 1900 to win the Super Bowl on the FanDuel. Make sure you go to FanDuel.com. That one sports book in America. And don't forget about ZipRecruiter. Don't forget about ZipRecruiter as well. Applebee's with an arcade. That's basically what Dave & Buster's is. It is Applebee's. That's a great way to put it. But I like the I would love John Gruden to be a head coach of the Giants. I would love that. I'm trying to get John Gruden on. We have 2 pretty big interviews coming up. I don't know next week. I have 2 interviews that I did 2 interviews with 2 NFL people. One is a pretty familiar name. And we just finished that interview yesterday, and we have a 2-week lull going into the season. So I'm not sure that when I'm going to post those interviews, because with school going back and everything, we have to kind of wait and see where we're at. But I'm very excited about these 2 interviews. And like I said, one of them is a pretty big person in the NFL, or pretty big person that covers the NFL, not Giant related, but just NFL in general. And that's going to be very exciting to see. So hopefully you stay tuned for that. We'll have a stream on Tuesday. We're going to have a Matt Sims pod. Him and I are recording on the 26th. So we'll have that up on the 27th. We need Bob Papa. We need Bob Papa. We do. We need Bob Papa on the Believe Network. Make sure you're hitting the like button on the way out for me, please. We're only at, I'd like to have seen 70 likes before I left. But you know what? I'd like to be even more better looking. What is going on here? Now I'm getting blown. I got 19 different Twitter messages. What the fuck? Let him develop. He was drafted late in the first round. I keep saying, I don't understand why people, with respect, Dart will be the 3rd quarterback and should be at this point. Wilson is going to get us win games, and that's what we want. Dart, while he's going to learn under Wilson and Winston, we have to prove him back up for years. Let's not rush Dart just yet, respectfully. See, that's a great. This was from Sean B, the Joker from Giant Rush. That's the way I got to write messages on Twitter, because normally I just write, you're a fucking moron. Is lost. He doesn't know. I love, because someone wrote, Tim is lost. He doesn't know shit about how Dart is retaining information. 2 things that makes a quarterback ready to start. He has to retain info and reference to the playbook. Second, if he's looked comfortable in person, Dart has always have the starting offensive lineman. Also didn't have. So this is why people are fucking idiots. And then the Joker writes the eloquent response of with respect, Dart will be the number 3 quarterback and should be at this point. Wilson is going to win us games, and that's what we want until Dart is ready to learn under Wilson and Winston, who are proven backups for years. Let's not rush Dart just yet, respectfully. See, that's a great way to put it. That's great, Sean. I would have told the guy to fuck off because you're a fucking moron. because he's telling me that I don't know anything because I don't know how darts retain information. But evidently, this guy, Michael M3, hold on.
Stupid giant Twitter post.
With his 100 followers, knows everything about how Jaxson Dart is retaining information. See, I got to be more like the Joker of a Giant Rush. That's what I got to do. That's what I got to be like. That was a great answer. I'm gonna have to learn on that one. What? I love this person. I watch you, but you don't sip the Kool-Aid like a lot of others. But the way you talk about Dart is just coming off as hate. What did I say wrong about Dart? What did I say wrong? What was I see? Like, you fucking idiot. What did I say that was wrong about Dart? If you weren't so stupid, I would debate you. There we go. And reply. See, that's how you answer. That's how you answer someone on X. Oh, 70. Now I can go. Tim wants us to be optimistic on him playing quarterback for Furman, but pump the brakes on Dart. I hope to God, Jay Fresh, you're being sarcastic. Because we all know we're not playing quarterback at Furman, and I like you, Jay. So I hope you're just being sarcastic, because then you got a lot of problems. Dave and Buster's is awkward $5 to play Pac-Man, $15 drinks, and then there's the kids there. Not for me. It's okay. I like Dave and Buster's. I think it's because of the fact that there are kids there. And wait for it, I have kids. Oh. All right, everyone. It is 11:44. I was waiting for that 11:45 hour so I can hit that like button. Don't forget, we'll have a stream on Tuesday at the Matt Sims pod on Wednesday. And then I'm thinking we will do the first release of the interview on Friday. The NFL interview Friday, so make sure you stay for that. Greg says, haven't been to Dave & Buster's forever. Hasn't changed. They changed the menu. They used to have a real good nacho thing, but then they changed the menu. So, but that's all right. Slider says, all right, bro. We are meeting up. Tim at Dave & Buster's. We're all invited. Let's all go to Dave & Buster's. I'll take everyone to Dave & Buster's. I love Dave & Buster's. All right, guys, it's 11:45. I do have to get out here. We got to cut this show early. Want to thank Honeypot. Want to thank Pimp Name Slickback. Like I haven't seen him in a while. Want to thank, of course, Slider and Greg and James and even Jay Ferris and Robert and everyone else that's in the chat. Dan the Man, Hirsch for Real, OG Knockout. Anyone that I've forgotten, Jay Fed, Todd Taylor, David. You got David also in there as well. James Joseph, we even saw today, which was great. Todd Taylor, like I said, we mentioned before. It was great to have everyone back on. We're going to get closer to the season. We're going to do a lot of fun stuff, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Make sure Glenn Knoll is also in there. What's up, Big Glenn? Haven't seen Glenn in a while. Hit that like button on the way out. Go follow us on Believe and all that fun stuff. And thank you once again, guys. We cracked 500,000 views last month. I think our biggest month was like 150,000 views. We cracked 500,000. That's insane. Fucking insanity. And I don't think I got anything to do with it. It's all you people going out there and putting in the virtues and talking up the channel and, doing everything that you do. So I really just greatly appreciate it. So gonna go from there, guys. And as always, like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that stuff. And we're out of here.